Welcome to Oulton Park for rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. You join us in the holding area for race 1B, and although this is the slower part of the grid, it doesn't mean that the racing is any less close.
That's right, Lloyd. We are here at Oulton Park and the track is already drying up. It's slightly greasy in some corners, but it's going to be a thrilling weekend with only a second between first and third. Well, on that revelation, I'm going to hand it over to Jake Sanson to run us through the rest of the grid.
Oulton Park, damp and greasy conditions. Richard Wooden and Simon Orange on the front row from Chris Stapleton and Clive Chisnell. Nick Ledoyen and Alan Hawkins on the third row from Oliver Robinson and Callum Greatrex. Rounding out the top 10 for the first race of the weekend, Andrew McGregor and Jason Taylor. Then it's Jenkins and Hughes, Anthony Hutchins and Bryn Griffiths. Orlando Lyndsay lines up alongside Super Series and Super Cup regular George Grant. Burge, Whiteman, Fields End, McGregor, Rumsey and Bartlett round out the field. It's going to be a very interesting battle for the 22 drivers as they charge up to Old Hall for the first time. The 5-second board goes up. Let's see what these guys make of the Oulton Park circuit. Engine revs rising. Lights are on. Wait for it. Let's race at Oulton Park. Good start initially from Simon Orange. Richard Wooden needs to shut that door early on, but he's going to get a terrible getaway. Really difficult start, and it looks to me as though he's going to be mugged by several drivers. Chris Stapleton's come through into second position, tucked in there behind Simon Orange as they filter through the first corner here at Old Hall, and a couple of them going off already. Oh dear, that's just about been corrected okay. Otherwise, a fairly clean start actually, as they make their way down towards, good defending there from Alan Hawkins to break himself into second place past Simon Orange. Really exciting start to this race then, and as we go through Cascades for the first time, there's no major damage. Clive Chisnell on the run for the first three positions. He's in fourth. He's going to try and squeeze both Hawkins and the 27 there of Stapleton. Can he get past them both? The answer at the moment is no, but then he gets very late on the brakes into Shell Oils and he's made it past both of them. Second position already. Wowee, that is such a sweet move there from Chisnell, and that puts him into second behind. Now we've got yellow flags on the entry to Shell Oil, so it looks as though we've lost somebody. Not entirely sure who. Well, I think that was actually withdrawn, the green flag, so I think whoever it was that went off has now got back on the circuit again. That's Callum Greatrex trying to move himself further up the order, having not had the most perfect of starts. But Simon Orange leads the way here from Chisnell. Hawkins in third position. Stapleton is there in P4. Really exciting start to this race as they make their way down into the chicane. Careful, chaps. That got very close. Oliver Robinson trying to make his dive on the inside of Nick Ledoyen and hasn't quite made that stick. Oh, no, that is Nick Ledoyen. My apologies. So Ledoyen's at the back of this queue rather than the front of it. On board with Stapleton. That is Hawkins in front of us as we go underneath the little bridge past the water tower. And this could be very interesting into Druids on the first lap. Cold tyres, twitchy car. Brakes still coming up to temperature. They're going to have to work very hard through this part of the apex as they continue to charge forward under Warwick Bridge, and look at the squabble further back behind the top three. Fourth place Stapleton still running well, but into fifth position, is that going to be Oliver Robinson making his way through? Looks like he's got there, so Robinson up into fifth position, and that's a big move from Greatrex and a massive twitch from the 56 of Thomas Jenkins. Greatrex is still there in eighth. He seems to have shaken off the 17 of McGregor for the moment, but keep an eye on Anthony Hutchins in the 80. He will want to be charging hard after these guys, and he's still there trying to get some pace. Side by side for fifth position, I think I saw under the Warwick Bridge. Yes, indeed. Is this going to be the immortal move from Jason Taylor? No, it is not, but he's definitely working hard to get there. So as they come up over Dearly, they're going into the last lap up in front. They've been on the last lap for a fair while, actually. We've been waiting for these guys to come around. But this is for the last place in the A group of the second race of the weekend. So Nick Ledoyen hanging on in front of Jason Taylor for dear life, and the back end steps out. Jason Taylor going to try again. Up towards the avenue. Dropping down through the right flick, up towards Cascades. Can Jason Taylor get this move done? Nick Ledoyen goes wide at Cascades, not wide enough. And Jason Taylor still determined to try and come by. Tom Jenkins is catching both of them. What if he could steal it from the pair? Well, it looks like Jason Taylor's lining up a move to come by, but he hasn't quite got the position on the track yet. So he swings by once more. As they come into the turn, this is the chance for Jenkins to throw it up the inside. But he knows that he's never going to get through into the A group if he lets Jenkins through. So Jason Taylor gets across into the braking zone at the Shell Oils, gets to the right side, stops him coming through. Beautiful bit of defending there from Taylor. who I have to say, it's very lucky that his car is working at all after clouting Stapleton and Wootton. Breaks very late into Britons. He's going to get side by side with Nick Ledoyen. They bang wheels as they come off the turn, and here comes Jenkins on the left side. They go over Hilltop. This is going to get pretty spicy now as they come down to the braking zone for Hislops. Somebody's going to have to concede, and it's not Nick Ledoyen. So Ledoyen's gone through, Jenkins has got through into sixth position. In all of that, I missed that Jenkins has got into sixth place now, so that's made Jason Taylor's job all that more difficult. But out in front, there is Simon Orange, who's got himself a decent enough gap over Clive Chisnall. That's really worked out in his favour. Chisnall coming out of the final turns as well now. A second place, valiant for him after that first lap master stroke. But it's a victory for Simon Orange. He goes through to the A group in delighted fashion. Chisnall through in second place. Oliver Robinson is going to finish ahead there of Alan Hawkins. There he is, third and fourth. Good result from them. Who's going to get fifth? It is just going to be Nick Ledoyen. So Nick Ledoyen joins Orange, Chisnall, Robinson and Hawkins in the A group. Fantastic battle Nick Ledoyen had there to get himself into the top five. Sixth place for Jenkins, seventh for Taylor. Great Trex, Andrew McGregor and Anthony Hutchins rounding out the top 10. No major surprises to see Simon Orange as the fastest man of the race. George Grant all the way up to 11th. Good fight back from him. Neil McGregor 12th with Graham Rumsey. Fieldsend, Bartlett, Lyndsay, Whiteman and Griffiths, with retirements of course from Hughes, Wootton and Stapleton, and Adrian Burge caught up in that incident as well. What drama at Oulton Park.
Congratulations, Simon. That was one race for you.
Thank you, Lyndsay. Yeah, it was good. Back in the A's now, that's where we want to be.
So have you got any plans going into this afternoon?
Yeah, just got to try and stay in the A's and move upwards.
So do you think you're set up, or you've got anything planned to go into it now the track's drying out?
No, we've got a good setup thanks to BS Motorsport. They've done a good job on the car, so we'll see how good they've done. If we can move up the A's, then we can test it out.
Clive, congratulations on your first podium and your first bit of silverware.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I'll need to buy a cabinet to put this in, and let's hope it's only the first of many.
Oliver, that was a fantastic race. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, had a great start. Started 7th and pulled it up to 3rd. Very bumpy at the start, let's say, but just kept my head down, kept on with it. Track was good, drying out. That was all good. Setup superb on the car. Got to thank the team for that. Paul Austin and his team, brilliant.
We're back here in the Holden area for race 2B. The track is completely dried up from being quite greasy this morning, which led to quite an eventful first race. But Lloyd, what do you think is going to happen this afternoon?
I'm not really sure, Lyndsay. As you say, the track is drying out, the sun is coming out as well, which is going to increase the temperatures. Matt Pollard's on pole position, but behind him are two very close racers in Will Hayden and Jack Moody. It really is anyone's race to take. Jake, the action's all over to you.
Thanks, Lloyd and Lyndsay. This one's going to be a very interesting one. We've had the bottom 5 drivers from the A group now into the front end of the grid for the B. Matthew Pollard and Will Hayden on the front row from Jack Moody and Jason Greatrex. Charles Moggleston and Tom Jenkins on the third row from Jason Taylor and Callum Greatrex. Rounding out the top 10, it's Andrew McGregor and Anthony Hutchins. George Grant and Neil McGregor are on the row 6. Then Rumsey, Fieldsend, Bartlett and Lyndsay come in the next 2 rows. And then we have Dale Whiteman and Bryn Griffiths from Paul Hughes. And the 3 drivers caught up in the first race shunt, Richard Wootton, Chris Stapleton and Adrian Burge. Looks like it's going to be an interesting one. You mentioned the sun coming out there, Lloyd, but I have to say, it's looking a little bit greasy. And I think the rain is just beginning. There are spots of rain on the windscreens of the drivers down here. They're using their windshield wipers. So it was dry, but it's about to get a lot wetter as the lights go out. This could be a crazy start. And away we go. It's a great start from the second row for Jason Greatrex. I think he's going to outdrag Pollard and Hayden into that first corner. This is going to be an absolutely electric start, so no problems at all there getting away, and he will make his way through. We got a spinner in the mid-pack. I think that is Pollard. Is that Pollard that's gone? I'll double check it. But Matthew Pollard was at the front of the grid. It's either Pollard or Hayden. I think it might be Hayden, actually. But look, windscreen wipers ablaze, and there's definitely been that off of the first corner. But cars sliding all over the place in the rain. It was dry a moment ago. You're absolutely right, Lloyd. But now the rain has come out. We're on board with Stapleton, who's trying to make progress after his first race shunt. And this is absolutely appalling. We've now got absolutely teeming with rain as they make their way down towards the island bend once again. And he's making up some good places here, Chris Stapleton, so clearly trying to march his way to the front as soon as possible. But down into the braking zone for Ireland, well, he can use the outside line to good effect. He's made his way past one. He may be able to get past one or two more on the way round. So several drivers finding grip on that outside line where others are struggling. That's McGregor going around the outside of the 16 of Neil McGregor. Goodness me, Neil has been making up some good progress in this one then. And Richard Wootton is coming up through the field quite quickly now as well. But yep, look at that, absolutely appalling rain. It is Matthew Pollard in second, so it was Will Hayden who spun on that first corner. A very scary moment. Oh, and overshooting on the chicane. That is the 544 of Jack Moody. He was battling there with Jason Taylor. He actually clips the barriers on the way through the chicane there at Hislops. You're not supposed to do that, but obviously he's trying to keep himself in as high a position as possible to get through as they go up through Knickerbrook, through the right-hander, and up Clay Hill. This could get very entertaining very quickly, and for some of the drivers, I think it's going to be for all the wrong reasons as they're trying desperately to hang on to their cars in what has suddenly become very torrential conditions, actually. It's getting wetter all the time, and actually this is proving to be quite a problem for the drivers. They go under the Warwick Bridge, and this is for the lead. We're about to get a lead change as Jason Greatrex, oh no, sorry, that's Callum Greatrex. My apologies, the 34. So this is a bit further back. And a big slide out of the final turn for Jason Taylor. Goodness me, he saves that one. But look at the rain. It's absolutely appalling. And it's getting wetter all the time. Now, I think these guys actually went out on slick tyres. So it's absolutely pouring down with rain. And it really has become quite torrential, the conditions. Now, they're going to have to stay on those tyres till the bitter end. It's going to get too wet to continue if we get any more rain down on the circuit. Oh, this is getting biblically bad now. Look at it, you can't see a thing, and surely the officials have got to consider a safety car at the very least. We may possibly even get a red flag if the weather gets worse than this, because there's a certain point when, you know, racing in the wet is one thing, but racing in a monsoon, well, that's just borderline crazy. And up the inside, is this going to be a move for position? Muggleston trying to make the move on Pollard. And he gets there, so that's put him up into fourth position. And that's the typical thing. Look, at that point of the circuit we were just watching, cascades down Lakeside through to Ireland, it's absolutely torrential and you can't see a thing. Whereas at this point of the circuit, visibility is still reasonably good. As they go through Britain's, they'll go up and over the crest. And I think, again, the water's not really hanging at this point of the circuit at Hilltop. There is still some spray, but there is a little bit of a breeze to push it away. This is Stapleton again, as we ride on board through the S's. I always have that horrible picture in the back of my mind in the torrential rain at Oulton Park, that British GT race about 15 years ago that became an incredibly expensive car park at this very chicane, Knickerbrook. It's gone viral on YouTube several times over, and it's a horrific sequence of events, and I'm rather hoping that, you know, the weather doesn't get so bad that it ends up a similar scene. I have to say, full play and full credit to the drivers for staying on the racetrack, as it's so difficult in these conditions on what is effectively the Nürburgring of the North, as it was always known, of course. And look at the weather, look at the rain that's coming off the circuit. It's so much standing water on the surface of the road, and that is causing so many difficulties for visibility. The windscreen wipers are going full 10 to the dozen, but it's barely doing anything in terms of pace, as Pollard is going to knit it up the inside of Muggleston. Muggleston just lets him go. Do you know what? You're there on the inside. I can barely see you. I'd just rather get a decent position. We're still going to finish in the top 5 if we stay as we are. They may even decide to throw the race early. Oh, look at this. Absolutely atrocious. I've not seen rain this bad at Oulton Park for a long, long time. And in a straight line, Pollard is struggling. And Moody's nearly going off. They are definitely getting towards the point. Yeah, there we go. Red flag. Sensible call. Well, any longer and those cars wouldn't have been cars anymore. They'd have been submarines, because there's enough standing water on the circuit. Oh, this is absolutely appalling. Yep, well done to the officials. That was the right call. Red flag. It had to be, as Jack Moody pulls off the circuit. I wonder if he's even seen the red flags. At this point, he's just probably throwing anchor and casting off a side. So it's a Greatrex 1-2 in the most appalling conditions imaginable at Oulton Park. Jason takes the win from Callum, but unfortunately a penalty later on given to Jason Greatrex demotes him to 4th, but it's Greatrex, Moody and Muggleston in the top 3. A fantastic race, and I have to say, given the circumstances, Will Hayden, what a drive to fight himself back into 13th place. But in those conditions, amazing that we only had one retirement, and that is John Fieldsend. But well done to the officials for calling it red before things got silly.
This has got to be a huge congratulations for you. This is your first ever win. How did you manage it?
I don't even know myself, to be honest. It was so difficult, and when it started raining, it's just, God knows, it was so slippery out there. I just couldn't see a thing.
Jack, that little bit of water certainly made things a bit interesting.
Yeah, I don't mind the wet, but I like to be a bit more prepared than on a dry setup.
Yeah, I think it caught everyone a little bit unawares, but you managed to come through and got second place.
Yeah. I don't think it couldn't have carried on for much longer. It was getting a bit dangerous, so yeah, but it was good fun.
Charlie, that was a fantastic result for you.
Oh, absolutely amazing. I've got to say a huge thank you to Mum and Dad, obviously, and then How To Consultancy for helping this be possible.
So talk us through the race.
Oh, talk you through what I can remember. Wet, and a bit more wet.
The cars are getting ready to go out onto the grid in the final Mazda MX-5 Championship race. This is race 3B, and the sun is still shining, Lyndsay.
Yes, it is, thank goodness. We have Oliver Robinson on pole, who has never started on pole before, so we're wishing him the best of luck. So Jake, over to you.
Thank you, Lyndsay and Lloyd. This is the final race of the weekend for the B group. And as you say, Oliver Robinson has never started from pole before. He lines up beside Nick Ledoyen, Chisnell and Hawkins on the second row from Andrew McGregor and Marcus Bailey, then Matthew Pollard and Thomas Jenkins on the fourth row. And Richard Wootton and Chris Stapleton still joined at the hip, rounding up the top 10. Hughes and Neil McGregor, Hayden and Burge, Griffiths and Hutchins are the next in line. And then rounding out the grid, we have Graham Rumsey and George Grant, Richard Bartlett and Dale Whiteman, and Orlando Lyndsay from the recovering Jonathan Fieldsend. Now, obviously, that second race was rained off after an absolutely apocalyptic downfall. You can still see the remnants of it off to the pit wall. There's still damp patches around the circuit. It is still technically a wet meeting, but they have still got to battle through the greasy, damp conditions. Let's race for the last time. Good start from Robinson. Nick Ledoyen's got a slightly better getaway, though. A much better getaway. And there's carnage in the midfield. There's big contact. That's the 35 that's gone into the wall. That is Paul Hughes. And he's got two in there with him. Bryn Griffiths narrowly avoiding the problems. But unfortunately, it looks like George Grant is in the mix. So there's already a couple of cars in danger, and we could get a red flag. Yes, we do. Red flag. So red flag. The race is stopped almost immediately, and that has not gone well for the two drivers involved in that one. So unfortunately, the 35 there very badly damaged. So obviously the race is going to need to be restarted. Paul Hughes out of the danger for the moment, but the race will be a fresh restart. Here we go. Now, Nick Ledoyen got a good start the first time around. Can he do it again the second time? Well, this time it is an even better getaway for the man on pole position, Oliver Robinson. Can he hold it to the inside line? It is a cracking start. And round the outside, there is going to be some very interesting battles. But it looks like this time everybody is away cleanly. So we got away with that one, no problem at all. Oliver Robinson, your leader. Ledoyen in second place. Third is Andrew McGregor. What a start from McGregor from the third row. And then we got Hutchins in there battling away with Bryn Griffiths in the mid-pack as they go through Cascades once again. We're on board with Chris Stapleton, and he's already trying to pick up a place or two. He's inside Tom Jenkins and makes the move, no problem at all there. Can he now get on terms with the man in front of him? I think that's Adrian Burge. Oh, Jenkins is still there, and there's a spin right in front of us. Oh dear, that is Chisnell. Clive Chisnell. Very, very lucky that was just a nudge in the barriers, really. He might even be able to get the car going again. And there's another spin in the middle of all of that. Now, who was that went with him? That is the 722 of Alan Hawkins. So the pair of them going together. And Hawkins clearly having some damage. So too, of course, Clive Chisnell. But the pair of them going off together in unison. Really exciting stuff and a very interesting battle. So into the chicane they come. And the race leader, Oliver Robinson, no problem at all for the moment. As the race continues on, Ledoyen there in second position. The 17 is next up. That's Andrew McGregor. And then in fourth position, that looks to me like Marcus Bailey, the 54. As they go up over the top of Clay Hill once again. Some absolutely terrific racing from these guys as they keep battling on this opening lap. Greasy track conditions, but you can still see a little bit of the patches of standing water on the outside of the circuit. Lots of races over the course of the day, of course, and that's made things a little bit easier for the track to be dried out. This is Chris Stapleton having a good battle. That's for 6th position, but there's no more promotion and relegation. We're in the 3rd and final race of the weekend, so it's just an all-out battle as up the inside. That is a good tussle with the 55, trying to make progress up through the field. Can Pollard get there? Oh, he's really having to work hard for it as he cuts across and maintains that 3rd position. Bailey's actually going pretty quick on this last lap. He may even be able to catch him towards the end of the lap. I don't think he's going to have the time to get past him, but Bailey is clearly a man on the mission. He's up to 2nd. He can see that Robinson is still there up in front, but not by much, so he's going to be stepping on it. Robinson will check his mirrors and he'll suddenly see, that's not Pollard anymore. Pollard is there, but it's Bailey in 2nd, so he looks pretty motivated. I'm going to charge. Into Knickerbrook. Balancing the car perfect. This is a great little run from Oliver Robinson to end his weekend exactly how he wanted to. He never really wanted to be in the B group. He's still making as much progress as he possibly can, but this is going to be a very nice way to finish the job, unless something were to befall. I don't want the commentator's curse to hit him on the last lap, but Robinson is looking good at the moment. Bailey's still there in 2nd. 3rd is the 55 of Matthew Pollard, and for the moment it looks as though it's not going to change. Down to Lodge. Robinson just needs to keep it neat and tidy, do what he's already done for the last 15 minutes or so, and into the final turns. This is a great finish to the weekend for Robinson. He's worked so hard for it, and Oliver Robinson takes the 3rd race of the weekend victory. Brilliant result. 2nd place for Marcus Bailey, a fighting drive. 3rd place, a warrior's effort from the 3rd place man there, Matthew Pollard. And across the line, the rest of the field are going to go quite serenely through in the end of it all. A very exciting battle here to finish us off, and some great driving, some good comeback drives as well. Looks like Griffiths and Stapleton both made up an awful lot of places. Hutchins kept himself out of trouble that time as well. So great racing in the 3rd and final reckoning from the Mazda MX-5. Those stricken ones towards the end continue on their way, but Marcus Bailey is given the victory at the end of it as a time penalty is handed to Robinson. So Pollard is 2nd, Robinson 3rd, from Hayden, Burge and McGregor in the top 6. Notable by their comeback drives. Good to see Nick Ledoyen finishing 14th in the end after a tough race, but retirements unfortunately from Richard Wootton, Paul Hughes and Neil McGregor. So a gift-wrap victory to Marcus Bailey, who also set the fastest lap.
Marcus, congratulations on your victory. It was a tough race out there.
It was a tough race. I had a great start on the first start, and when the Reds come out gutted, 2nd start, went to catch 2nd, straight into 4th. Everybody swamped me. Sitting on the line before, I noticed the smoke coming out from underneath the bonnet, and I thought, what's that?
Well done from us here with the BRSCC team. Talk us through the race.
It was a mad race, really. Obviously, it was shortened to 12 minutes, so it was a mad rush to the end, really. And my focus was to make up as many positions as I can. And I was in 1st at one point, obviously, because I think it's Oliver had a penalty, but the front just went away, and I had understeer through the chicanes. But I took what I got in the end. But it was a good race. I was really happy with it, and it was fun. So that's what matters.
Oliver, just a little bit of a creep there. That must be gutting.
It was very gutting, yeah. I knew I'd done it. I had a poor start in the first start, and then I thought, right, I'll have it this time, and just crept it. And then that was that. I knew I'd done it.